Joe, in the beginning of the season, if I would have told you week 4 is here and Nebraska and Illinois is a primetime showdown in the Big Ten, you would have laughed at me. But nevertheless, we are here. Illinois ranked, Nebraska ranked, both teams playing really well. I'm going to kick it off to you. What do you think about this Nebraska-Illinois game?
Better yet, if I texted you this 5 weeks ago, I said, all right, we're planning ahead for week 4. Illinois, Nebraska, get ready for it. Look, this Illinois team has surprised me. They were exactly what I thought that they were going to be last year. And it's so annoying that now it comes to fruition. But they're not just a team that's kind of riding off of that Kansas win. They're really freaking dominant right now. They're only allowing 70 rush yards per game. They're outgaining opponents 421 yards per game to 255, allowing 2.5 yards per carry. Luke Altmaier has been great for what they need from him. 69% completion percentage, no interceptions, 6 touchdowns. One guy to pay attention to for Illinois, Xavier Scott, took over the Kansas game. That kid is phenomenal. The way that he played, he could be a menace. He had multiple interceptions. He could be, if Dylan Raiola has a bad game, it's going to be because Xavier Scott comes out of nowhere and picks a ball off and returns it or does something crazy with it because he is that type of an impactful defensive
I agree.
back. I, however, lean Nebraska because I can't help but focus on all of the momentum that Nebraska has right now and everything that we continue to see from this Nebraska offense. Dylan Raiola is getting better on a week-to-week basis. I can't ignore that. They're figuring out their identity, and they know what it is. I think that Nebraska is going to win this, and it's going to be close.
The momentum that Nebraska has right now is very interesting. I agree with that. Look, I think that this game is going to be fought in the phone booth by both teams. I think both coaches love games where it's a fight in the phone booth. I do question that Illinois over Kansas win because Kansas lost again last week. And I really wonder.
Well, it was the way that they won, though, was impressive because they completely took away that Kansas offense.
I don't disagree. And look, Luke Altmaier, for all the things that he took last year, look, I thought he was proficient last week, 19 of 29, 242 and 2 scores. He's been able to do some things. The Fegan, the running back, has 173 yards and 3 scores. They've been able to do some really productive things offensively. But to your point, defensively with Scott and others, that's where I think this game is made for them if they're going to pull out a win. I just think Nebraska's on such a different level at the current moment, on a momentum high. Joe, I do wonder how Raiola, when he's finally faced with adversity, how he reacts. And that's the thing. Like when we pick this game, I'm assuming we're going to pick this game this week. When I look at this game, I'm ready for the other shoe to drop like most freshmen have. You know, like he's made some really, really good plays. But I'm like, where are the freshman moments? Like, where are the freshman mistakes? He's had some, but they're not leaning to turnovers. And I think that's the part where I'm asking, is he going to have that this week that's going to lead to a lot? Like, when does that happen? Here's the thing, though. He is surrounded by, and Matt Rule said this a couple of weeks ago, that he is the hardest working guy on that team and that his level of preparedness as a freshman, going to class, coming to work out, getting ready for games, has propelled them as a team. And that's what builds culture. I'm really wondering if that other shoe is going to drop this week because I think Illinois' defense is a lot better than people want to give them credit for.
Yeah, that's a really good conversation for this game. I really think it's going to be close because of how good Illinois is playing defensively right now. But from just a storyline perspective, I'm really intrigued by how does Dylan Raiola actually play when he's playing against a good defense? Because the Colorado defense was dookie. They were terrible. They were not a real true test. Dylan Raiola, to your point, where freshmen do tend to make mistakes. But he's not a normal freshman, man. Like, I watched some tape of him from the wide angle, and he's able to make some just insane throws. And he does it with such confidence and poise, like he's been doing it for 10 years. He is unlike anything that college football has ever seen. That needs to be acknowledged.
How does he come into a short week too? Because if I'm not mistaken, they're playing on Friday.
Yeah, this is a Friday game.
There's a lot of conversations, and here's the thing. Thank God this game's at home for him. I don't know if it's going to be this week because he hasn't been on the road, right? And I think that's when this is going to happen, and crowd and environment gets after him a little bit.
Ohio State game is going to be the real make or break.
Well, of course. Here's the thing, though, Joe, that I look at Nebraska, though, too. We went into that Colorado game talking about, man, these Colorado receivers, man, the Nebraska ain't going to be able to keep up. And you know what, Joe? They patty smacked them. And I don't know if Illinois has the weapons that Colorado does. Now they have a better line of scrimmage, and that's a completely different topic of conversation. They can run the ball better.
Yeah. I wouldn't compare I don't think it's possible to even compare the two.
I would compare the two in the sense of that. What I was trying to get at is Nebraska, they look flawless against Shedeur Sanders. Let's call it what it is. I mean, they look flawless.
Yeah.
They confused the Rudy Poo out of him. He had no idea where to go with the football. He threw a pick six. They had a lot of really good, big-time plays. Look, man, I'm gonna keep saying this until I'm blue in the face. Their front seven on defense, Nebraska, is also really talented. They're not fast, but they play assignment football and do their job, and that's why they've continued to win. Joe, I think this is a toss-up game, if I'm being honest, man. I look at them. I like both teams. I don't know where to lean here. The only reason I would lean Nebraska would be because I do think Raiola is a little bit better of a playmaker than Altmaier. But that game being at home for them, the way that they showed up against Colorado, now they have a ranked game. Mm-hmm. Joe, when's the last time Nebraska had a ranked game at home?
That's a great point. I think they're going to be really hyped for this. And I think that's where
really hyped. And it's a Friday. The build up to this, I just don't know if I think that might be a little too much for Illinois to overcome. That would be why I lead to Nebraska.
Here's how I think this game is going to play out. I think it's going to be lower scoring. Right now, Nebraska's an 8-point favorite, which I think is just people over betting on Nebraska. I think Illinois covers. I think that Nebraska is going to win by 3 or so, and it's going to come down to a late drive, maybe getting stopped by Illinois, or a late field goal that's kicked by Nebraska, and they go down, march down the field. I don't think that this is going to be a really big, highly separated game for everything that we talked about here. That Illinois is better than people want to give them credit for. I think a lot of people look at them being ranked and kind of furrow their brow and question it and think, what the heck have they done? They tackle, they hit on defense. They come downhill hard. And if there's any way for them to pull out this, I guess it's an upset. It's not really an upset, but to pull out this win, it's going to be off the back of their defense. This video is sponsored by the online fitness training camp presented by Chris Gates Fitness. When I first started talking about Chris, about partnering with our show, not only was I excited to have a fitness sponsor for our pod, but more importantly, when I found out about how he can help people achieve their goals, I was even more bought in, because when the football season starts, it is so tough to stay on top of things and also to be able to enjoy yourself on Saturdays when it's game day. With Chris Gates Fitness's online training camp, you're going to be able to effectively stay focused, consistent, burn fat, build muscle, and do it with a like-minded community of individuals working towards the same thing. On top of this, you're going to be able to get direct coaching from Chris and the ability to ask him questions with an access to a live Q&A where you can get direct, personalized support from Chris himself. Don't wait any longer. If you're trying to get in shape during this fall and you want to be able to do it with the right support system, head on over to chrisgatesfitness.com/trainingcamp or click the link in the description. And you need to do it today, because you can get the first month. Personal training is expensive, folks. The first month for only $10 when you use that code RuffinoJoe. Don't wait any longer. Head on over there. BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.